Okay, so this is gonna be part 3 to um what if Deku had cremation? So let's get into it. So it's the start of the training camp. Um and yeah. So before and while class 1A is doing like their training during the day, Deku he's at the villain's hideout, and he's discussing the plan with Shigaraki about how they're gonna attack the training camp. And this is when oh wait Shigaraki would explain the whole plan, and like how and we're gonna have to kidnap two of the students. And Deku would say why, and Shigaraki would say like both of these students that I saw on during the sports festival might be good villains, and if we can convince them to join the villain side, that we can be really strong or whatever. And Deku says okay, and then so it's later that day. It's nighttime. The and then Kirigiri teleports Deku and the whole Action Vanguard squad to this training camp. And Deku, he's the leader of this, and he like tells everyone where to go and whatnot. And Deku, he goes with Twice to like the middle of the forest to start the fire, and he does start the fire. Twice makes clones of Deku so they can like distract the heroes that are there. And so this was happening during like the test of courage thing. And Deku, he would see like some of like class 1B and class 1A like running around and everything like that, like freaking out. And the clones that Twice made of Deku, they're like holding off Aizawa and Vlad or whatever. I think that's his name. Yeah, the clones are holding off them. And yeah. And Mr. Compress tells Deku to look for these two students, and he shows a picture of the two students, which are Bakugo and Tokoyami. Deku says okay. So he starts walking. He sees some students, but they're knocked out. So he just walks past them. Eventually, he finds Bakugo with Todoroki, and he says like, "Oh, you're here, Bakugo." And then he says like, "How do you know my name?" And he says like, "Because you won the sports festival, and it's all over." And yeah, come with me and you won't be harmed, and he would say that. Bakugo would say, "Oh yeah," and he would start charging at Deku, and Deku would just throw a fire blast at him, and burning Bakugo and sending him back. Todoroki would shoot an ice attack. Deku would just melt it with his fire. And then he would say, like, your ice attacks won't affect me. Like, your ice attacks won't affect me. And I want to say that Todoroki hasn't started to use his fire yet. So, yeah. They would fight. Eventually, Mr. Compress would sneak up behind Bakugo and, like, capture him into, like, that marble thing. And, yeah, and Tokoyami is also captured. And Mr. Compress says, we came what we came for. Come on, let's go. Deku would say, okay. So he would start running away. Todoroki says, get back here. And Deku would say, I came here what I came to get or whatever. So they regroup. Mr. Compress does get like reveal them, like get attacked for the marbles. And I'm gonna say that Tokiyami, he gets rescued. Bakugo, he doesn't. Deku catches the marble of Bakugo and gives it to Mr. Compress. But then I'm gonna say that a couple of like Ida, Todoroki, and Shoji. Yeah, I think that's his name. All three of them tackle Deku before he can escape. And eventually, Deku, he would get captured. And he would be sent to prison. And while he's in prison, they would ask him questions about, like, what's your name and all that. And he would say, my name is Deku. Because he doesn't go by Dobby, he goes by Deku. And the police say, like, what's your last name? I was like, I don't have to tell you. And they say, okay. And the police would say, like, if you don't tell us, you'll be in jail for a very long time. And Deku says, I won't tell you, but you can do a DNA test to find out who I really am. And the police says fine. So they do a DNA test. They find out that Deku, he is the son of Endeavor, and he is the twin brother of Todoroki. And this spreads around the news. Like everyone finds out that one of the League of Villain members is Izuku Todoroki, and like Endeavor's son. And Endeavor finds out, and then he gets arrested, and he gets his hero license taken away. And then Todoroki finds out about this, and he visits Deku in prison. And Todoroki, he's crying and all that. He's like saying, like, where have you been? Where have you been all this time? I thought you died, or like I thought you would never come back. And Deku would say, it's nice to see you too, but I'm in jail now, and I have to pay for what I did. And Todoroki says, no, like, you can change. Like, I'll persuade the police to let you go and all that. And Deku says, like, you don't have to do that. Like, I have to. This is my consequences of, like, these are consequences of my actions. So, and I have to pay them. So Todoroki, he leaves. Eventually, Todoroki would be begging the police to let his brother go, and like saying like he can change and I'll make him change. Because no, the police says like, why would you let him go? And he would say like, it's not his fault. He became like this. Like our father, he was abusive to us, like more abusive on him more than me, because he had a stronger fire quirk than our father did. And he was born with this he was born with a body that was made for a ice quirk user, but he was born with a fire quirk, so he was a lot. His quirk made him. I mean, Endeavor. I mean, his father saw him as weak because of his quirk was too much for him, so he kicked him out and threw him on the street. And yeah, the police would like say fine, like he gets one chance. And if he blows it, he goes to jail forever. And Todoroki says okay. So Deku, he gets released from prison. And Deku says like, thanks Shoto. Todoroki says like, you're welcome. And Deku says like, so how's it been without me? And Todoroki would say like, it's been really bad lately. And Deku would say, how's mom doing? And Todoroki would say, she's still in the hospital. She's still recovering. And Deku would say, oh, that's unfortunate. What about our brother and sister? Because I don't know their names. I forgot their names. And Todoroki would say like, they're doing well. They'll be happy to see you. And so Todoroki takes Deku home, and yeah, Endeavor is in jail now. So yeah, Deku, he goes back home. He sees his brother and sister, like they're crying and hugging him, like saying like, I'm so glad you're back. Like we thought we lost you and all that. And they see all the scars on Deku. And like they're saying like, what happened to you? Like, and Deku would say like, overusage of my quirk, and my skin became like this. And they're saying like, we're sorry, we couldn't do anything to make Dad stop the abuse and whatnot. And Dad would say, no, it's okay. Besides, he's paying the price right now. And they say, what do you mean? And Deku says like, he's in jail. And they're saying like, that's what he deserves for what he did to you and Shoto. And eventually, Deku, he would go visit his mom, which is Rei Todoroki. He does that. He goes with Todoroki. So Todoroki, he would go in first, and he would greet his mom and like saying like, Mom, I have someone wants to see you. And his mom says, who is it? And then Deku, he walks in and he says, hi Mom. And then Rei, she stands up. She's like really shocked, and then she starts crying. And she runs towards Deku and like hugs him and say like, oh, my baby. He's like on all that, like, oh, I thought I lost you. Like, I thought you would never come back after what your father did. And he says, it's good to see you too, Mom. And they would hang out for the rest of the day there, and then they would leave. And the next day, Todoroki this UA would let Todoroki bring Deku along, and Yeah. So it was the next day. And Deku, he's in a class one in a UA uniform with a surgical mask. And his surgical mask covers most of his face, but you can still see like half of his eye, like the scars under his eyes. Like you can see half of that. But other than that, you can't see. And his ears don't get covered. And like most of his neck, yeah. So yeah, Deku walks in to class 1A, and Todoroki, he says he introduces Deku to everyone. They all try to be nice to him, and they all try to shake his hand. And Deku, he goes to shake, like he's about to go shake their hand, or whatever. But then he stops and looks at his own hand and like seeing like, oh, how like it's all scarred up and everything. And they would ask him like, what happened to you? Like, how do you have so many scars? And Deku would say, my overuse is over since my father. I'm sorry if you can hear that. Those are my dogs. Anyways, so Deku would explain, since my father was abusive towards me. Hold on. About that, I had to calm down my dogs because they were fighting. Anyways, so Deku, he was saying like since his father was abusive towards him, and Todoroki too, he was abusive towards Todoroki too. He would force them to overuse their quirks, and eventually he had scars on his body. He got these scars on his body, and yeah. So, wait, Bakugo, I think he did get captured. I forgot. I think, yeah, he did. And if he didn't, I'm gonna make him say he did. I already forgot about that. Anyway, so Bakugo, he did get captured. So they're trying to think of a plan. I'm gonna say that Momo, she didn't put a tracker in the Nomu. So they would come up with a plan to use Deku. Just like tell them where the hideout is. And Deku would say, fine, it's in like, I don't even know what city they were in. Just like the same city that it was in canon. I don't remember the name. So Deku tells him, I'll go first, and I'll give you guys a signal so you can guys start the raid. And they would say, okay. So the heroes would drive there. Deku, he would go in the bar, and Shigaraki would say, what took you so long? Deku would say, I'm sorry, I just had to deal with some people real quick. And Shigaraki would say, well, perfect. Like, our master is ready to do the attack. Deku would say, okay. And then he would like press a button, and that would be the signal for the heroes to start the raid. And yeah, then All Might busts in, and all the rest of the heroes, and then Shigaraki says like, wait, what's happening? And Deku would say, since the police let me go, I agreed with them to tell them where our base was. And Shigaraki would say, you traitor. And he would try to touch Deku, but Deku would just shoot fire out of his hands at Shigaraki, which would burn Shigaraki's hands. And Shigaraki would be sent, like his hands would be burning really like they would be really burned. He would say, "You traitor, like you'll never be a hero." And Deku said, "That's fine by me. I can become an anti-hero." And then like this is when like the portal, the black sludge thing starts like teleporting the League of Villains out of there. And All For One shows up. Deku, he rescues Bakugo, and he tells him to leave. Bakugo says like, "Why would I have to listen to you?" And then Deku puts up his hand and starts shooting fire out of it. And he says like, "If you don't, I'll burn you." And Bakugo says, "Yeah, whatever." So he leaves. Deku, he would stay in like at the bar. I'm sorry about that. So anyways, he would stay inside the bar. All Might would start fighting All For One, and eventually All For One would start beating up All Might. Deku would step in and shoot fire blast at him, All For One, which they would actually do like damage towards him, even though that he has a resistance, like he has built up a resistance towards fire. The fire that Deku shot at him were like really hot, and it actually affected him. All For One would turn around to see Deku, and he would say, "What are you doing here? Why are you attacking me? You're supposed to attack All Might." And Deku would say like, "I changed my mind. Like I'm with the good guys now." And he would start shooting fire at All For One. All For One would like block it. All Might would get up. He would do the whole United States of Smash and all that. And what else? Deku, he goes. All Might, he loses one for all. So yeah, Deku, he would be an anti-hero, because I think that's what I said. I don't really remember. I think he was an anti-hero, or a hero. I think he was an anti-hero. Yeah, I think it was. So yeah, after that, Deku, it's the written, not the provisional license exam. So Deku actually takes the test. Every school is after class 1A. Deku just shoots like fire around the whole arena, like covering it. And I'm gonna say that Deku, he's able to control fire, like his fire, to the point that it hurts the other classes, but not his own class. Because I'm gonna say that he would let the fire not burn them and all that. So yeah. So everyone would pass. Except for Todoroki and Bakugo, because the whole everything that happened in canon, that would happen too. Deku, he would meet up with Toga, like Toga would see him and all that. Toga would try to take Deku down, but Deku would just shoot fire and all that. And Toga like runs away and all that. So yeah, Deku passes that test. And then it's the big 3 thing. Yeah, the big 3 arc. So it's the next day. Deku, he's just sitting in class. He's learning about things. Then the big 3 would come in. And yeah, then everyone would go to like that big gym thing. I don't remember what it was, but Miria would challenge everyone. He would take down all of them like he did in canon. He would try to go for Deku, but Deku would just let out fire from his body. Like even though Mirio can like permeate through things, like he can still feel the heat because he can't permeate everything from his body. Well, he can, but he would just be sinking through the ground. But he was just, yeah. So he would feel like he would go get pushed back from the heat. Deku would shoot fire, and Mirio would dodge. And Mirio would go for a surprise attack from the back. Deku, he would turn around and shoot a big fire blast at Mirio. So the only way he would be able to dodge it is like permeate his entire body, which he didn't. So he would get really burned. And yeah. And so yeah, like Mirio would be taken down. The other two members of the Big Three would be like pretty surprised of how like a first year like has fire, and he took down the strongest student in UA. So yeah. And Nejire, she would ask questions about Deku, like saying like, what's your quirk, and how did you like defeat Mirio? And Deku would say like, I just shot fired at him and he passed out. And he would say like, does this mean I'm the strongest student now or something? And Nejire would say like, I don't know, like you're gonna have to talk to the principal about that. And Deku would say, yeah, I don't really want to be the strongest anyway. So Deku, he leaves, and it's the end of that. So I hope you guys like this one, like this part. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll go through like, this would be like my first series, and I'll go through into season 4. So be ready for that. I'm gonna post that part, like part 3. What part is this? I don't even remember. Well, the next part of this would be like the start of season 4. So I hope you guys liked it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.